Hello and welcome once again to the circuit. Ricardo Tormo here in Valencia. It's day 2 of racing in the opening round of the Ferrari Challenge for 2017. Once again, we are bathed in glorious sunshine, and it is, as I mentioned, round 1 before we head off to Monza, Budapest, Le Castellet, Silverstone, Imola and Mugello, all to come as part of the 2017 calendar that we can look forward to with the Ferrari Challenge. Good crowd here to enjoy the race action, which is about to come from the Trofeo Pirelli races. That mix of pro and am drivers about to do battle on this 4-kilometer circuit. The Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Fabulous shot of the grid formed there, and there you can see the very interesting and quite intricate shape of the circuit here, which affords fantastic visibility for those spectators, because it's in a kind of a natural bowl and it's very much like a stadium. 22 degrees the air temperature and 28 degrees on the track, and 30 minutes of hot rock race action to come. And there we can see our pole sitting team, Octane 126. Not only pole sitting, but have locked out the front row once again. There's Fabio Lima, who goes from P2 on the grid. Took the win yesterday, having got past his teammate Bjorn Grossman, who will be starting from pole position just as he did yesterday. But Fabio Lima, former single-seater Star GP2 winner, is the man that's going from P2 on the grid. This is the double champion in Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli, Bjorn Grossman, the German driver, who once again during qualifying has done everything he needed to do and will be going from pole position. And yesterday he ended up finishing on the podium P3, which is not where he wants to be. And in conversations with him yesterday, he felt that he was one of the few drivers that really stuck to the track limits rules, whereas perhaps some others didn't. And let's hear from our pole sitter now.
It was a hard battle with Fabio in the qualifying, and it comes to be a more harder race in the evening.
Well, we'll see if he alters his driving for today and whether he'll be less within those white lines. Bjorn Grossman, Fabio Lima, row 1, Philip Barron, Sam Smith, row 2. And then it's Gagliardini, who had a problem yesterday and didn't finish the race, and Alessandro Vezzoni, rounding out the first 3 rows of the starting grid for race number 2 here in Valencia. Then we find Chris Froggatt, phenomenal qualifying from him, gives him P7, best of the AMs. Jens Liebhauser, Martin Nelson, Joshua Katu, Thomas O'Rourke, and then Jensen with Greg B, Mark Bruff, Erik Tidstrand, Overgaard, Holger Hampson is the best of the 458 drivers. And Galipatar, another one of the 458 drivers. And that's the way the grid looks. So Sam Smith then we're looking at right now. Driver number 92 goes from P4 on the grid, won the AM Championship in Trofeo Pirelli last year in an extremely convincing style. And there you can see Pirelli AM Champion in 2016, been elevated to the Pro category for 2017, and expecting good things from Sam Smith in the race today. Welcome to Valencia. It's a real celebration of the 70th anniversary of Ferrari here in Valencia, and a good crowd to enjoy all the race action which is about to come. Emozione, passion, Ferrari. That's what this weekend is all about, the opening round of the Ferrari Challenge. And there is Alessandro Vezzoni, having a conversation with him this morning. He's going from P6 on the grid, and yesterday he wasn't feeling 100%, and we never really saw the pace from Alessandro Vezzoni that we would expect from him. Reckons he's got it all together today, and his qualifying performance would suggest that probably that is the case. He's going from P6 on the grid for Rosso Corsa Pelin Racing, Alessandro Vezzoni. Look at that power plant. All new for this year, of course. The 488 car is the Ferrari Challenge car, and it's a disappointing qualifying probably for Philippe Barron. Would have expected him to probably say that he had a bit more than P3 in qualifying, but can certainly move up the places from there. Another former champion in the Ferrari Challenge, Philippe Barron, driving for the Rosso Corsa team in that incredible metallic green colour, the livery and colour scheme that he's adopted for 2017. So, and there is the power plant. It's the first time ever in the Ferrari Challenge that we have a power plant that is with turbo. And talking to many of the drivers yesterday, including Jens Liebhauser, that it's been a different driving style. They were testing here in Valencia earlier in this week before race activities got underway. The car is absolutely phenomenal. Something very special indeed. And there we're inside the cockpit of the car, the Ferrari 488. It's the sixth Ferrari Challenge car. The original first one was the Ferrari 348. Various models have been used up until we reach the present day with the Ferrari 488, the Challenge car. And in fairness, the start of the season had to be pushed back to enable the factory to produce enough of the cars. Such was the demand for entrance into the Ferrari Challenge for this year. Joshua Car2 then for Ferrari Budapest will go from P10 on the grid here in race 2 in Valencia. Always a rolling start in the Trofeo Pirelli. In fact, across both the categories of Ferrari Challenge. In Trofeo Pirelli, we have a mix of the Pro and Am drivers. There's very little sometimes to choose between them. All the Pro drivers are occupying the top 5 positions on the grid. The rest are Am drivers and a couple of drivers in the 458s, the last year Challenge car. All the social media at the top of the screen for you to be involved in the Ferrari Challenges. Beppe Scanetti himself, former Ferrari Challenge champion, now the official Ferrari safety car driver, drives that Hublot safety car. He's about ready to lead the drivers off on their formation lap for this 30-minute race to come. It is race 2 for Trofeo Pirelli across the weekend. And in the sunshine, perfect and fantastic conditions to watch this racing as the final engineers leave the grid and the heat haze rises. So too does the sense of anticipation and excitement as we look back from the Hublot safety car, which now, bang on time, roars away. And just a few seconds afterwards, so the cars will follow on their formation lap. Indeed, the cars are released now. Octane 126 then, who had a fantastic time of it yesterday, will be looking for the same today. What a sight, what a sound as they roar past our commentary position here at the Ricardo Tormo circuit. The cars on their formation lap, weaving from side to side to try and generate some temperature into those Pirelli tyres. And we go on board with Martin Nelson, victorious in the Am category yesterday. What a fantastic battle he had with newcomer into the Ferrari Challenge, Chris Froggatt. Awesome battle all the way through the race. It was P1 and P2 for Martin Nelson and Chris Froggatt in the Am category. Martin Nelson, who's always raced number 13, is racing number 70 this year in support of the 70th anniversary of Ferrari. beautiful livery across the Scuderia Autoropa car of Martin Nelson. We're on board with Philip Barron now, the Rosso Corsa racer, looking back at the all-yellow machine, the FF Corsa engineered Sam Smith car. Sam Smith, who won the AM category last year with rounds still to go. Such was his dominance. He's been moved up into the pro category this year and goes from P4 on the grid. Quiet, unassuming, but very, very quick racing driver, Sam Smith. Great to have him back in for another season in the Ferrari Challenge for 2017. Grossman, Lima, Barron, Smith, then it's Gagliardini, who didn't finish the race yesterday and will be hoping to put that right today. And then Alessandro Vezzoni with Chris Froggatt and Jens Liebhauser and Martin Nelson, before we find Joshua Katu, who rounds out the top 10 in qualifying. Interestingly, Chris Froggatt has out-qualified Martin Nelson in the AM category. That will be a battle once again to take a very, very close look at. Here comes the race. Stand by. Bang on cue, the lights go green and we go away and racing once again. It is race 2 in Trofeo Pirelli. Fabio Lima and Bjorn Grossman. Philip Barron already losing out on places right at the very start. Really got hung out to dry there, Philip Barron. Now finds himself back there in P6 or maybe even P7. So as they make their way through the first turns, it's Bjorn Grossman that's leading Fabio Lima, but Gagliardini, who had such a torrid time of it yesterday, is really pushing Fabio Lima. Chris Froggatt, another one that was mugged at the start. Sussex extolling his virtues right at the start of the race, saying what a battle he could have, losing out on a number of places right at the very start here, and that by virtue of the fact that Martin Nelson really is on a charge. And Philip Barron way back down the order then, having lost out on so many places, trying to make good now, and he's right on the back of Sam Smith. There is the all-yellow car of Sam Smith, and there is the number 91 machine of Philip Barron. Race leader, Bjorn Grossman, as we complete Sector 2. Fabio Lima, then it's Gagliardini, Alessandro Vezzoni, Sam Smith and Philip Barron. Before we find Martin Nelson, who's up to P7. Gagliardini, who suffered a failure of some description yesterday, was not able to complete the race, runs really, really wide there and is chasing down Fabio Lima now. Philip Barron also right on the back bumper of Sam Smith. Sam Smith moves over to defend because coming downhill, the next turn is a left-hander. He wants the inside line. Philip Barron is right alongside him. Now, if he's going to maintain that position there, but carries so much speed, he's running off, but he keeps the momentum on. The track officials will take a look at that because of track limits. And various lap times got taken away during the course of qualifying because of excursions over the white lines and taking track limits. And I have to say, that looked like that was momentum carried. So Barron is now P5, Sam Smith is P6. And Barron now on his way to chase down Alessandro Vezzoni, who yesterday wasn't figuring in the way that we thought he would. He was suffering, felt a bit poorly yesterday. It's all much, much better today. And truth, we could sense that from his qualifying, which was much stronger today than yesterday. Gagliardini flashing his lights furiously at Fabio Lima, the former GP2 champion. He's not going to be troubled by that, I wouldn't have thought. Bjorn Grossman, though, got a 1.6 second advantage already over Fabio Lima. Now, Fabio Lima, of course, is being slowed here by having to defend from Andrea Gagliardini. 1:36.024 on lap 2, fastest lap. And who does it go to? Of course, race leader, Bjorn Grossman. So they're the number 20 car of Gagliardini. Raced last year in the Italian Sport Prototype Campionato. And this year very much in the Ferrari Challenge. So those your P1, P2 and P3, and he's certainly trying different lines and trying to unsettle Fabio Lima. What he's trying to do here is make sure that every time Fabio Lima looks in the rearview mirror, the rearview mirror is full of that all-red 488. Car number 20, Gagliardini, that man is under investigation for a jump start. Just receiving that information on our timing screens, and out and around goes the number 82 car of Palais Kiersgaard, the Barron service driver, but manages to get it going again. And they're on the FF Corsa pit perch. So car 20 under investigation for the jump start then, which would account for his position and pace at the moment. Race stewards looking into that as we speak, and for the moment Fabio Lima is giving him a clean pair of heels. Bjorn Grossman though continues to lead and continues to build that margin over Fabio Lima, although Fabio Lima now is beginning to just encroach a little bit. It's 1.9 seconds as Gagliardini over the white lines definitely, and taking quite a lot of runoff area around turn 14, the final turn on this 4-kilometer circuit here at Valencia. So Grossman, Lima, Gagliardini, then it's Barron, Vezzoni, Sam Smith. Best of the AMs is Martin Nelson, and Chris Froggatt down there in P11, which is he had a disappointing start, that's for sure, having done a great job in qualifying, but done very, very little racing. And now from here, can we tell Gagliardini jumped the start? Probably not quite accurate enough from that camera angle. Oh, well, he certainly was going for it, and that's why Philip Barron got relegated. Down the middle there, Martin Nelson was also another one that was on a real charge, and here you can see Philip Barron just didn't have the same pace, and Vezzoni was able to take advantage of that as well. Well, we'll see what the investigation reveals, and whether that information will come to us during the course of the race. I would think so. But at the moment, Gagliardini is running in P3 as we take a look at these replays. Sam Smith and Philip Barron battling together there, and that was where Philip Barron took quite a lot of the runoff area and had the momentum to find his way past the all-yellow machine of Sam Smith. Great to get all these replays in so that we can see so much action going on at the very start of the race. Robin Jensen was out on the runoff area. There's Bjorn Grossman as we go back to the live pictures now. He really is leaving Fabio Lima, has increased the margin now to 2.8 seconds. Fabio Lima, in turn, has got some 7/10 over Gagliardini now. So they're all gapped out a little bit at the front. That's the man that is P1 at the moment for car number 1, the double Ferrari Challenge champion, Bjorn Grossman. Just a part disappointed with his performance yesterday, but as I mentioned to you, he felt that he'd driven the entire race well within the rules and hadn't taken any advantage of running off. Felt that perhaps some other drivers had made advantage of that, and he was going to change his driving style accordingly today. Chasing down Alessandro Vezzoni is Sam Smith. There is our race leader once again, the Octane 126 driver, Octane 126. Engineering very, very quick cars indeed, because Bjorn Grossman leads with another Octane 126 driver, Fabio Lima, in P2. First 8 minutes of the race, duration of 30 minutes, just about completed. The uphill and downhill sections of this quite challenging circuit. As getting together there was the Greg B car with Christian Overgaard. And then in super slow-mo, the front of the Madzeg Tickstrand car, which then made contact with the Mark Bruff machine. Mark Bruff Good save from there. Martin Nelson is once again looking very, very quick here, just on the timing screens. And this battle going on between Jens Liebhauser and the number 97 car of Tommaso Roca. Tommaso Roca, another one of those long-standing campaigners in the Ferrari Challenge, and Joshua Cartu there in the number 30 car is just eyeing behind. Car number 20 must respect the track limits. So Andrea Gagliardini not only under investigation for potentially jump starting, but also being picked up by the stewards for taking all four wheels across the white lines. So Martin Nelson now chasing down Sam Smith. Sam Smith is in a real battle with Alessandro Vezzoni at the moment. Martin Nelson is the AM leader. Going to be mixing it with the pro drivers in just a moment. And here is Sam Smith on Alessandro Vezzoni. Then we can see it from being on board with Martin Nelson, the AM driver. Those two cars battling ahead, and they're battling over the P5 position. Well, race officials have adjudged that number 20 did not jump the start. No further action after an investigation, so it's safe in that P3 position. However, he's being warned with regards to track limits as well, so just keep an eye on that. For the moment, Alessandro Vezzoni has got the pace down the start-finish straight over Sam Smith. And there, the order on the left-hand side of the screen for you. As further down the grid, there are plenty of battles going on here. The Barron service car in the middle of this trio as they head down towards turn number 1. Very, very close there. Greg B running out wide then in that sort of dull green colour. Ahead of them is the number 45 car of Christian Overgaard, and it's Robin Jensen for Auto Roper in car number 73, that very distinctive Auto Roper livery that you can see. At the moment, Christian Overgaard is the one that has the best of those. Liebhauser is P2 in the AMS, Tommaso Roca is P3 in the AMS. But it is Martin Nelson, also from Scuderia Auto Roper, that is leading the AM category in this Trofeo Pirelli race that we are enjoying. First 10 minutes of which are done. A third of the race duration. Whoa, and up the inside and through. That was a really audacious move, but a move that has paid off for Robin Jensen as he goes past the number 45 car of Christian Overgaard. It was a really, really unexpected overtake, but one that came and was executed millimetrically perfect, I would suggest. Grossman out front, incidentally, is now, or has now, increased his lead by some 4.2, some 4.1 seconds. Another one that's really flying around this circuit. And now that Robin Jensen has been released from that trio of cars, you can see how quick he is. A lot of speed being carried there by Mark Bruff means that he's out onto the runoff area. Can bring it back from there, though, still ahead of the number 72 car of Madsek Tidstrand. But of course, got to keep an eye on this track limit issue, which car number 30 is being warned about now. That's Joshua Cartu. So lots of warnings coming up, and you'll get a couple of warnings before a penalty may be issued. And as I mentioned earlier in the program, we've seen plenty of penalties in the qualifying session where fastest lap times were taken away because of the advantage gained by not respecting those track limits. Big issue in motorsport. Mark Bruff then has raced in the GT Cup and also in Brit Car, and now in the Ferrari Challenge for a confirmed season. And great to have him here with us in the number 80 car running in the AM category. Finished a very creditable P5 in the AM category yesterday. Currently a bit further down the order in the AMs now in this race, but and here is that overtake again. Door was left open, and in truth, Robin Jensen didn't need inviting through there twice. The Auto Roper driver taking advantage of that error by Christian Overgaard, the Barron driver. and it was a great overtake. And here we can see, I mentioned that very distinctive livery of the Jensen car, the Auto Roper machines, leader of which is Martin Nelson, who's currently P7 in the race overall, but leading the AM category. Took the AM honours yesterday on the top step of the podium. Very, very good driving from this driver, though, Maciej Tikstrand, as well in the Auto Roper colours. He's currently running down there in P16. Teammate Jensen is P12. Grossman just had a slice of time taken out of his gap because Fabio Lima has just put in a 1:36.873. Now, comparing that to the 1:37.146 from Bjorn Grossman, Fabio Lima taking a few tenths out of Bjorn Grossman's margin of comfort, if you like. Right, this battle for 5th position between Alessandro Vezzoni and Sam Smith continues to rage. Alessandro Vezzoni suffering, feeling not very well yesterday. Got it all back together today, and at the moment is showing a clean pair of heels to the FF Corsa engineered Sam Smith. Into turn 1 they go, and Sam Smith now all over the back of Alessandro Vezzoni, and just waiting to try and pounce as well is Martin Nelson. Martin Nelson is the first of those AM drivers. Just saw the car into the picture there, but it's Vezzoni in the red number 27 car, Sam Smith in the all-yellow number 92, and then Martin Nelson wearing that number 70 number in support of the Ferrari 70th anniversary celebrations, who's lurking behind the best of the AMs. If he can mix it up with the pros, he'd be delighted to do that. Sam Smith had such a phenomenal year as an AM driver last year. As I mentioned, he won the AM category with 2, if not 3 rounds still to go. For my money, Fabio Lima is now consistently quicker than Bjorn Grossman, and around and out goes Palle Kjærsgaard. Now, that's not the first time that his car has been pointing in the wrong direction in this race. Earlier on, he had an off, so Kjærsgaard is looks like he's parking the car, and I mentioned just a moment ago that Fabio Lima closing down Bjorn Grossman. Wasn't so quick that time around, but was still 5 tenths quicker. Car number 30 being warned with regards to track limits once again. That's Joshua Car 2. Gagliardini is there in P3, and P4 is Philip Barron, who's some 9 tenths behind him. Fastest lap still goes the way of Bjorn Grossman, which came in the early stages of the race when, of course, the tyres are offering the maximum performance and adhesion to the track. Sure enough, Kjærsgaard, who we saw pirouetting a moment ago, is out now. And there is Martin Nelson, who will sense an opportunity here to elevate himself a further position potentially, and to be mixing that up with the pro drivers that are ahead of him, including that man, Alessandro Vezzoni, in the all-yellow car of Sam Smith. Then it is Martin Nelson, the best of the AMs, who's following closely behind. Sam Smith closes under braking to Alessandro Vezzoni, not quite close enough to be able to position himself for a potential there, but Vezzoni is really having to drive with concentration and focus on the rear view mirrors, and there runs wide, but Sam Smith not close enough to be able to do anything about it around that turn. He's going to dive to the inside now, but again not quite close enough. Vezzoni had it covered off. And the one to watch here, and I'm convinced of this, is Martin Nelson, who's just sitting back as we look at the team principal of Octane 126, Philip Barron, Christian Birchinger, who was just watching on as he drives P1 and P2. Here's the Vezzoni, Smith and Nelson battle once again, and very quietly Jens Liebhauser is coming into that battle also. Car number 19 is another one of the cars being reminded about track limits. That's Per Nielsen. He's currently running down there in P18. So now Smith is in this awful position where he is hunting and being hunted. Of course, he's hunting down Alessandro Vezzoni and is being hunted by this man that we're on board with now, Martin Nelson, the Scuderia Autoropa driver. Martin Nelson buoyed and full of confidence following his victory in the AM category yesterday. Great to hear the turbocharged 488 power plant being used to full effect by Martin Nelson. Just for the moment, not quite close enough to either Vezzoni or Sam Smith. Battle in the 458s then is being led by Luger Hampson, whose car is right in the centre of the picture now. Car number treble 2, driving last year's 458 Evo car, Luger Hampson, who's leading the separate classification there is for the 458. Galibatar is P19, Luger Hampson is P17 in the race overall. Fabio Lima once again is posting quicker times than Bjorn Grossman. Margin between them, to be fair, is still some 2.5 seconds, but Fabio Lima just quietly going about his business as we see the retirement for Palle Kiersgaard, the Barron driver that I mentioned, who's been pointing in the wrong direction on a couple of occasions in the race, and the FF Corsa team look on as Sam Smith continues now to chase down Alessandro Vezzoni and gets right alongside him here. He'll push Vezzoni out wide, and Sam Smith, well, I didn't see that one coming. I don't think Vezzoni did either. Good respectful driving between the two of them. They left each other almost racing room, I'm inclined to say. We'll get a replay of that and you'll see Vezzoni really was forceful and ambitious move by Sam Smith, but it paid off, and I just suspect now that Smith has been released from the clutches of Vezzoni. Here it is then. You can see it on board. There, the gap was there, and he went for it. There was no touch between the two of them, which is in part due to good driving from Alessandro Vezzoni, and Martin Nelson will now feel he's got an opportunity, but as I mentioned, now Sam Smith has gone away from the clutches of Vezzoni. I wonder if we'll see what pace he's truly got underneath him. Vezzoni for now is not letting him get away and is going to try and wrestle that position back again. Car number 30 being warned once again about track limits. That's Joshua Carter. And we're into the final 10 minutes of this, and car number 30 is now going to be given a black and white warning flag. So, as I mentioned, you get so many warnings, and then you'll get a penalty. Well, at the moment, it's only the black and white warning flag, but Joshua Carter going to have to be very aware of that. He's in P10 at the moment. Here comes Vezzoni then on Smith once again. Smith, of course, has put himself ahead of Alessandro Vezzoni, but Vezzoni is fighting back, and sometimes we see the best driving from Alessandro Vezzoni when he really is chasing down someone, and that is the position at the moment. Did very, very well in terms of defending lap after lap after lap from the charge of Sam Smith, and Sam is not able to pull away as much as I would have expected him to. And Martin Nelson now, so the roles are reversed. Alessandro Vezzoni is still trying to attack Sam Smith and wrestle that position back. We also have to be mindful of the fact that Martin Nelson is ready to pounce as well. So it's the P5 position that they're battling for, and Vezzoni is right alongside Sam Smith here, and he's done it because he's got the inside line for this turn. So Vezzoni comes back. Smith will have another go now. This is really topsy-turvy and great to watch. Very good, clean driving from the two of them. They're pushing it to the absolute limits, but that's exactly what we want to see. So Sam Smith is relegated. And here comes Martin Nelson then, who's right on the back of Sam Smith now. Vezzoni will try and make haste his escape up the road, but in fairness, the pace between those two cars is almost identical. Here it is in replay then. King of the late breakers, wasn't it? And Vezzoni had real confidence in the car and the grip that was available to him, and that's what it looked like from being on board with Martin Nelson. Great move by Vezzoni to come back and wrestle away that P5 place back again. Very, very good battle to watch between the two of them. In the meantime, there is Andrea Gagliardini who is being caught by Philip Barron. Barron has got more pace. Last lap was a 1:35.653, whereas a 1:38 for Gagliardini. Now, whether Gagliardini made an error somewhere along the line, because that's a slow lap by any means. Fabio Lima is continuing to be quicker than Bjorn Grossman, but it's only by 1 or 2 tenths, and with merely 6 minutes left of this race, it's probably not enough. Oh, as Barron really gets the car sideways there. And I was talking to Philip Barron on Friday, who was saying that these 488 cars, you know, they really bite. And when the tyre degradation has reached the point where it's leveled off, it's really a driver's car, and you have to be able to drive it. And Barron then just giving us an example of how on it you have to be. Here we can see from on board then. Out onto the gravel, very well held by Philip Barron. That, of course, has not helped him, though, getting in on terms with Gagliardini. So Barron pushing the car for all it's worth. Gagliardini is not an inexperienced racing driver, having raced in things like the Carrera Cup and GT4. So we're into the final stages of this race. Calculate that there's probably 3 laps left to run. And Trofeo Pirelli leader then is Bjorn Grossman, some 2.6 seconds ahead of Fabio Lima, who is in P2. And the leader in the AM category is Martin Nelson. Gorgeous livery across the Scuderia Autoropa car of Martin Nelson, driving number 70 this year. Tempted to say similar to his age, but he wouldn't thank me for that, so I won't. Right, there is Alessandro Vezzoni. Some very good driving from Alessandro Vezzoni. He, of course, lost out earlier on to Sam Smith, that P5 position, but he's wrestled it back, and in fairness now is showing Sam a clean pair of heels. Both of them have pulled away a bit from Martin Nelson. There's Luger Hampson, who's still leading the 458 category. Luger Hampson, the German racer, done a number of seasons in the Ferrari Challenge, and in that 458 car, being hounded there by Per Nielsen. Right, Sam Smith then for the final efforts perhaps on Alessandro Vezzoni. The fight for P5 is to the outside. Will that give him a better exit of turn 14? Most definitely it won't, because he runs wide. So Vezzoni then pitches his car initially right in the middle of the track, and that's the number 19 car, I think, of Per Nielsen. I hope that's a correct spot from me, who goes through those chicane bollards put in there. Luger Hampson then, and there is the number 242 car, is the car driven by Gallup Attar, which is the second of the old model Ferrari Challenge cars. So, and that was where a bold move by the Per Nielsen car didn't pay off. So just under 3 minutes of the race remain. Grossman with 2.2 seconds over Fabio Lima, and there is Philip Barron continuing to chase down Gagliardini, but really rather suspect that it's maybe too late. Never say that until the checkered flag has fallen, and Barron is one super focused driver who, if there's just the hint of an opportunity, then he will be seizing it and taking it around turn 14 then. And heads down the start-finish straight, which is very downhill. It's not until you stand on the straight you realise how downhill it is into the turn number 1, the Jorge Martinez Aspar. And Gagliardini then, he's been under investigation for a jump start. He's been under investigation for track limits, and he's survived all the attentions of the steward. At the moment, with just under 2 minutes remaining, so 2 more laps is what we're going to get. Barron there all over the track as he wrestles with that car. Tyre degradation, of course, at its worst now, right towards the end of the race. Barron actually a couple of tenths slower than Gagliardini on the last lap. Interestingly, Fabio Lima was once again a couple of 100ths quicker than Bjorn Grossman, but under braking there, Philip Barron gets right on the back of the number 20 car, and all of a sudden, over the remainder of this lap and the one lap that will follow, as out goes with damage the number 23 car of Greg B. So there you can see he has to park that up in the gravel. That car is going no further because of the front damage. Everything coming together right at the end of this race for Philip Barron, or is it? Certainly trying, and Gagliardini having to defend very hard. There'll be one more lap. As they cross the timing line, Philip Barron knows he's got one lap in which to try and wrestle away the final podium place. He was on the podium yesterday. He takes a look at the inside of Gagliardini now. Gagliardini will run a bit wide. So too, though, will Philip Barron. Where's the overtake going to come? Because sure as heck, the opportunity to do so is going to come. He's going to try and find a way. I suspect as out goes the number 82 car of Palle Kiersgaard again. He obviously returned from the pit lane and did get out again, but now finds himself in the gravel, and he's not going to dig it out from there. This is the race leader, Bjorn Grossman. We are on the last lap as he lights up the brakes at the front. You can see the discs illuminate with heat. Bjorn Grossman from Octane 126, and his Octane 126 teammate Fabio Lima behind in P2, but there's still just under 2 seconds margin between the two of them. Bjorn Grossman, steady drive, has never put a foot wrong, and has, for my money, has managed the gap between himself and Fabio Lima. Certainly have got the pace in the cars, and going to head for another phenomenal result for Octane 126. Swiss-based Ferrari Challenge team, race in other categories as well. Ferrari making an appearance with Octane 126 in the Nürburgring 24-hour race. Checkered flag. Grossman wins from Fabio Lima. And it's going to be Barron ahead of Gagliardini. He did it. Of course, we didn't see it live because we were watching the race winner cross the line, but at some point around the circuit, Philip Barron got ahead of Gagliardini. So he does take the final podium place. The battles continue to rage right till the very end of this race. Here comes Alessandro Vezzoni, who remains ahead of Sam Smith. Martin Nelson wasn't quite able to cut it with those pro drivers in the end. But Nelson is delighted with another AM victory, and weaves the car from side to side with delight. It's 2 out of 2 for Martin Nelson. Double top step of the podium for that AM driver, who we go on board with right now. So Grossman, Lima, Barron, and this was where Barron did it. There was a little bit of contact between the two of them, and then a little bit more contact between the two of them. It was a forceful move, wasn't it? I suspect that might be looked at. Yeah. A little bit of unhappiness there from Gagliardini. Right at the final knockings as Luger Hampson crosses the line to take the victory in the 458 order. We lost Greg B and Kiersgaard out of the race, but there, as I mentioned, in the 458 is Luger Hampson, and behind him fellow 458 driver Galipata. Well, an all-pro top 6 then. And Martin Nelson leading the AMs, who we are on board with now. He'll be really delighted for that. Taking 2 top steps in the AM category across the weekend. Brilliant drive. Oh, a big sideways moment then for the Christian Overgaard car. And Christian Overgaard then Here comes our race winner in the pro category and race winner overall, Bjorn Grossman. He is congratulated. And the crowd here to enjoy the podium ceremony, which will be coming up. There's Philip Barron. Thumbs up from him. Might be a little discussion between him and Gagliardini, perhaps. And to the right of Philip Barron there is former Ferrari Challenge driver, now acting as a driver coach, Fabio Lima. And Froggatt then, who was so good in his performance yesterday on the final lap, overtook Liebhauser for a swap of the podium positions in the AM. Martin Nelson, how happy is he? He, of course, is the winner of the AM category. Well, just as we've been watching that Ferrari show, we've been advised that car number 91, Philip Barron, will be given a 5-second time penalty, which will take him off the podium and put Gagliardini back on it. So there we are. That's the latest information we have, and therefore that will change things on the podium. So Gagliardini, who didn't finish the race yesterday, will be pleased that he is up there on the podium. And that podium being readied as we speak. That's a great shot as we look down at the podium there. So we'll have a podium for AM and also Trofeo Pirelli. And they're looking uphill towards the podium from sort of the middle of the pit lane complex. Lots of spectators on top of the building. And race still to come for the Copa Shell cars, which is mostly amateur and gentleman drivers. Now, here's where the 5-second time penalty was awarded, really. It was the initial contact from Philip Barron that just sent Gagliardini out wide. Gagliardini did try and come back, but I wouldn't want to be a race steward, truthfully. And it looks like the podium is about to get underway. his confirmation of the classification, then taking into account that 5-second time penalty. Grossman, Lima and Gagliardini we will see on the podium in the pro category. In the AM category, we'll see Martin Nelson, Chris Froggatt and Jens Liebhauser. It's been a phenomenal opening weekend for Chris Froggatt, it has to be said, who's done very little racing, just a bit of racing in the Middle East. And here he is, making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge and taking 2 podiums. So Andrea Gagliardini then makes his way out onto the podium. Fabio Lima is on his way as well. And Bjorn Grossman. Luger Hampson then sprinting towards his podium place as well as being the best 4.58 driver. National anthem time for Bjorn Grossman. Trophy presentations to come then. So Andrea Gagliardini receives his trophy. There really are lovely trophies here at Valencia Circuit. For this opening round of Ferrari Challenge, Francesco Bianchi, then the president of Ferrari Europe and Africa, are making the trophy presentations. That one to Fabio Lima and this one to the race winner Bjorn Grossman. Octane 126 received the team's trophy and they'll be pretty happy with their spoils from this weekend, won't they? Perhaps that will give them a boost for next weekend. Luger Hampson receives his trophy, best of the 4.58s, and here comes the Pirelli trophy from Teo Meyer, the Pirelli motorsport manager, who's a familiar sight here at the Ferrari Challenge, most often to be seen cycling around the paddock on his Pirelli bicycle.
Es el momento de la fotografía con todos los premiados de ese Trofeo Pirelli en el centro del podio.
Wonder whether this Octane 126 team member to the very left of your picture will be quite as quick as his boss, Christian Berchinger, when it comes to the champagne. Yes, he will, to be fair. He sprinted nicely. So Luger Hampson enjoying his time up there, as is everyone else, as we take super slow-mos to the top 3 then. Taking P3 following a 5-second time penalty to Philip Barron, it's Andrea Gagliardini, P3, and on the podium. P2, former single-seater star Fabio Lima, who was never able quite to match what Bjorn Grossman could deliver in the race, but P2 for Fabio Lima. But this man takes the win. Bjorn Grossman for Octane 126. It's another P1 and P2 for that team, and Bjorn Grossman takes his first win of 2017. And he'll be jolly pleased to have done that. He's 2 times Ferrari Challenge champion. Are we looking at the champion come Mugello at the end of the year? Every possibility of that. Podium being ready then for the AM category, where we will see Martin Nelson, Chris Froggatt and Jens Liebhauser. All the cars parked up there in the Parc Ferme area. So the AM podium is getting underway. Drivers making their way out to the... Martin Nelson nearly trips on his way out. I have to say, I've been remarkably impressed with Chris Froggatt and his performances. He's about 7 foot tall, you know. So Nelson, Froggatt and Jens Liebhauser on the podium. What a weekend it's been for Martin Nelson then. 2 out of 2. Jens Liebhauser then receives his trophy from Francesco Bianchi. Chris Froggatt then, what a debut weekend he has had. And, well, Martin Nelson, he'll be pretty chipper chap in his paddock garage this afternoon. Takes another victory, and it's another victory for Scuderia Autoropa, of course. Here's Teo then, the motorsport manager. Makes the trophy presentation there. Right, they all get together for the photographs, and then you watch Nelson go for it with the champagne. So, winner in the AM category, as we've just seen on the top step of the podium, Martin Nelson driving for Scuderia Autoropa with that number 70 number. You recognise the 70th anniversary of Ferrari. Just have a feeling we're in for a fantastic year of Ferrari Challenge racing. So live from the pit lane then. Now that the podium ceremonies are done and dusted, there's Mark Bruff just walking away along with some of the FF Corsa engineers. Just into the picture there was Luger Hampson, and there some of the spectators that have leaned over to see the podium ceremony and can do so from that vantage point. In the Drivers' Championship then, Fabio Leimer and Bjorn Grossman now tied on points on 36 with Philip Barron P3 on 26 points with Sam Smith, Bezzoni, Gagliardini and David Gostner then, who's not competed this weekend but could take part in qualifying. So the Pro Drivers' Championship, and in the AM Drivers' Championship, Chris Froggatt. I wonder if he thought he'd be second in the championship in his first weekend. Martin Nelson leading, though, on 41 points. Chris Froggatt on 33. So, and there, the trophies. Absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look at the highlights now. So there, the highlights of the second of the Trofeo Pirelli races here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo at Valencia, the opening weekend for the Ferrari Challenge. Stand by, we have another Copa Shell race to come a little bit later. Bye-bye for now.